Welcome to our Flex Friday series.
Flex Friday.
Let's ride with the ladies.
Right? Sarah, Brittany, and I are starting off our first of our Flex Friday conversations. I'm not really sure what you guys want to call it, right? But my name's
Love
Kayla.
that.
I'm from Pulse Training Studio. And if you guys want to introduce yourselves.
My
Go
name's
ahead, Sarah.
Britannia from The Better Body.
Nice.
I'm Sarah from She's Hercules.
Perfect. And it's so funny actually because all three of us actually worked together at Good Life, and we all started at different times in Windsor. So I think Britannia was there first, and then I kind of made my way there, and then Sarah joined us afterwards, and we all kind of started at the same time. And it's so interesting that
We pretty much, started around the same time.
yeah,
Yeah,
right.
you
We all
were
started at
at
the-
a
yeah,
Yeah.
and then
just at training, and then when I got in there, and they're like, Britannia's a beast. Like, take note. And I was like, oh, okay.
What? I didn't even know that.
Oh yeah.
And then literally like around the same time, like 2-3 years later, we all kind of left at the same time, all started branching out, doing our own things. And so basically I figured might as well have a conversation, talk about being women in the fitness industry and address, any commonly asked questions and kind of talk about our stories. So Britannia, you want to start us off? Tell us a little bit about yourself and kind of give us your story.
Well, I'm from Windsor originally. I've always been in Windsor. I did track, basketball. I played sports in Windsor. So that's kind of my upbringing. I was always into the fitness industry. And I started training part-time with track, started coaching part-time with track in high school. And then from there, that went into a little bit of mentoring. And then once I went to school for human kinetics at the University of Windsor. So I was still training part-time. And then I was working as a dietary aide part-time as well. So that kind of changed my my way that I looked at fitness, because now I have the nutrition side, I have the training side, and I was just kind of just doing a little bit of each thing, as well as still doing my training for basketball and track. So it was kind of, I was already in the world, but I didn't really know I was gonna end up turning my whole career into fitness and nutrition the way that I did.
Yeah.
So that was pretty cool that it all worked itself out, because I had so many different part-time jobs in fitness, nutrition, and in the medical field. But once I kind of realized that the medical wasn't the way I was going to go about it,
I remember that.
So that's how that started. And then I had graduated, and then I was like, you know what? I want to take fitness training full-time, personal training full-time. So once I graduated, I traveled for about a year. I just started traveling crazy, and I was still training part-time. But then once I got a phone call from Good Life, and then I did the interview, but once I did the interview, I'm like, okay, well, I have a trip coming up. So once I get back from my trip, then I'll be down and train full-time. And I was pretty sure it was Ryan at that time that did my interview.
Yeah.
And then as soon as I got back from that trip, 2 days later, that was kind of when I started my whole Good Life transition. And then the rest is pretty much history.
Yeah, right? Funny.
Kayla, how'd you get started?
Let's hear yours.
Oh, so I was like really fit and like slim like my whole entire life. I was like underweight for a really long time. I had my first kid, bounced back like I didn't even have a baby. I had my second kid, and the baby weight came, and then they called their friends, and then their friends came, and then before you know it, like I was just like one big blob, like unhappy blob. So I went to the gym. I actually went to the women's only Olette gym. It was like right in my neighborhood. I used to go there all the time, and like I just hit like a plateau.
The Good Life gym?
Yeah.
Yeah, the Good Olette one.
Okay.
Yeah. And I kept going, and I remember Suzanne, she'd like welcome me every day, say good morning every day. And this one day I just snapped. I was like, yo, like, this isn't working. My body's not back. Like, I have to go to Jamaica and meet my family. And like, I can't go looking like this and blah, blah, blah. And she's like, okay, slow down. One, you're fine. You're beautiful the way you are. Everybody's different shapes. Like, it's okay to be whatever you are. Just be happy that you're still here and you're yourself. And then she got me a personal trainer, Cora. And I'll never forget having my first consultation with Cora.
I remember Cora.
Yeah, I remember looking at Cora when she told me how much it was, and I was like, are you going to dance for me too? Like, I don't understand. And remember, I have no idea about personal training. Like, obviously I knew that was a job, but like, I didn't know what it entailed or like how much they get paid or like what the dynamics were. I came home to my husband. My husband was like, if you're really unhappy and you really want to work on yourself, just do it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, what do you have to lose? Just do it. So I did it. I dropped like 60 pounds in like 5.5 months. I felt so much better. Like I was back to like, okay, back to my old self. She actually recommended, like, if you're not doing anything and you know, you're just a stay-at-home mom, which it's cool to be a stay-at-home mom, why don't you apply to work here? Like, you're so motivating, you can help other women. I was like, okay, cool. I went through the whole process. Unfortunately, I didn't get placed at Olette. They stuck me out at Dougal. I got to be trained by Dustin and the whole team there. I definitely learned like a lot of drive and stuff. I eventually switched over to go to the women's gym so I could make a better impact or more impact like on women specifically. And then COVID hit, they shut down, and I was like, man, what am I gonna do? Like, I have all these clients that I trained like privately
And they
that
fully
couldn't
shut
afford
down.
them.
Like they closed, right?
Yeah,
They're
Yeah,
permanent.
they fully like.
They're
I
permanent.
remember looking at my boss, and she was
Yeah.
leaving for Mark Sprague, and she's like, all I want is when I come back, the gym to be standing. And I was like, oh, we can do that. I can make the gym stand. And then due to COVID, they closed. So I had all my old clients that I didn't know what to do from Good Life. I had a whole bunch of clients that were on the side that couldn't exactly afford like the Good Life training, but still needed help. By this time, my husband had built me my garage that had like paints and had my logo. And, you know, it was, I would go to work all day, come home, cook food, go right out to the gym and like train again. And it was just like the most motivating thing. So over COVID, when I had to shut down and you had to like do regulations and stuff, my husband's like, why don't you just open your own spot? And I'm like, I don't know, you really think I can do that? And he was like, yeah, like you've been doing it, you're just in a smaller space.
Yeah.
Like, okay. And we like
It's a
took off the
scary
kitty
jump,
gloves,
but
and it was the scariest jump of my life, but I'm
it's
so happy
so
that I
much
jumped.
better.
Like,
It's so
But
much.
how did it work with the gym closing? Like, did they give you guys like severance pay or something? Where they were just like, well, you guys are on your own. Like, how did that part work?
Well,
they shipped us. They gave us options to go work at another gym, which was cool.
okay.
Like I loved my new boss that I had. I had Victoria Edwards, who is great, as you guys know, she's awesome. It just, in life, it was just the right time
To branch off and do your own thing.
yeah, like it was very scary. But when watching the gym, like you can probably attest to this, Kayla, watching your gym become your gym, like it's an empty space when you first get it, right? And when you make it your own, it felt so scary. I mean, you're building something in the middle of a pandemic and you don't know how it's going to go, but once it's done, it's so rewarding and you're so proud of it that you're like, man, I don't even care if the ship sails or sinks. Like, I'm happy that I built you.
I got here at least. I built this ship.
I did this, yeah.
For
And
sure.
obviously
sure.
the pandemic was really scary. No one thought we'd be back in a lockdown.
Yeah.
But
Here we are.
it is what it is, and I'm really happy that
honestly.
we're here.
Honestly, yeah, it's been an interesting time. Never did I think in my first 2 years of business that I would have to like shut down for half a year at least. So that was definitely really rough. And like even for myself, like coming from Hamilton and starting something here, it was tough, but it was good. And obviously, I mean, I wouldn't trade it for the world. And I loved the process of like building a business. Found it so much fun. I think that like I definitely had that like tunnel vision of like, okay, A, B, C, D every day. Okay, I'm gonna work on D, E, F, whatever, and like go through that checklist. And by the time I like got to the end of the checklist and like looked up, it was done. And like the funny thing is, like I will never forget this. Like I was sitting on the couch with like my sisters and Dean like the night before our opening, and I literally just started like bawling. And I was like, oh my God, like I'm here.
I arrived.
So like it was a surreal moment. Like never forget that for sure. So yeah, definitely being in the industry, it's I find it's scary when you get in, but once you get in, it's like you either love it or you hate it. So you figure that out really quick.
Yeah. If you're gonna do it.
Yeah, exactly. And honestly, I've been kind of like jumping ever since. And it's been working out. So I'll continue to jump until I can't anymore. But okay, so I figured we might as well kind of address some of the commonly asked questions. Of course, we all have like a big roster of clients all together, and so we get a bunch of questions asked to us about health and fitness on a daily basis. So if you guys maybe had like your top 5 questions or anything that kind of came to mind that clients would want to hear the answers, or anything that you guys want to address.
Well, I guess since we all have businesses, the biggest question that I get asked is what was the biggest roadblock in where you started to where you are, and how did you get there? Like, how did you overcome whatever that roadblock is?
That's a tough
Pretty
one.
Yeah. So, Kayla, go ahead.
What was my roadblock? You know what? My roadblock was like, why would people want to follow me? That was more so it. Like, are my clients gonna want to come with me? Am I doing the right thing? And that was definitely continuous. I still think have those roadblocks now. Definitely those like, you know what, I'm just gonna work a 9 to 5. Like that just sounds so much easier. But at the end of the day, I remind myself like I'm doing something that I love. I'm impacting people that, value my services just as much as I value their like love and support. And so, just making sure that I'm kind to myself and that, yeah, I'm open-minded and just know that I can do it. I mean, it's already been 2 years. Like I'm already doing it. So, yeah. And your passion, when you're passionate about what you do, it comes through in your job and what you do. And that's why people want to follow you, right? So I just try and keep that going.
Britannia?
My hardest thing, I don't even know, right? I don't even know off the top of my head. I think maybe you should go and let me think about it.
Okay. My biggest thing was overcoming definitely like myself. I'm like super hard on myself. Like I remember when I was opening, I had everything to be perfect. Like, want everything to be like perfectly white. I want the stairs. I did a lot of like renovations in my place. So like the lights had to be perfect. The stairs to the base, like the second level had to be perfect. The office had to be perfect. And everyone was like, Sarah, you made it look like a gem. It already is beautiful. Like just relax. It's okay if the light bulb missing downstairs in an office that you don't use right now. So it was just overcoming my own insecurities in like presenting She's Hercules to the world. And when it finally was allowed to go out into the world, right? Like when we trained at another gym, we weren't allowed to talk about She's Hercules. We weren't allowed to talk about Pulse or our bands or whatever we were working on, right? So having like a secret project and then finally presenting it to the world, I had like all this anxiety. And once I presented it, I was like, okay, just jump. You're gonna sink or you're gonna swim. Like either way, you can't stand on this cliff.
Yeah.
So, and I remember watching a documentary and it was Steve Harvey, and he was like, if you do not jump, you will not succeed. And I was like, okay, like I guess.
All right, Steve.
Got you. And like it was like the silliest line ever, but it just resonated. Like I can stand in my gym and keep it closed and it's still gonna be beautiful, but nobody's gonna see it and nothing will come of it if you don't just
really
put it out.
As a small business owner, you're always gonna see every detail. Nothing is ever gonna be perfect. And if any time showed us this, it's been 2020 and during the pandemic.
Yeah.
Like you know what? I'm still standing. Who cares about this dirt? Or who cares that, these are a little dusty.
Yeah.
There's scuffs on the wall. I'm like, you know what? It's fine.
The scuffs on the wall are now character from clients doing some sort of exercise that they sweat and cry through. So you know what? That scuff is memorable.
Yeah.
You were saying the transition between in-person to online training.
Yes. So for me, that was the hardest part because most people knew me for my in-person training style. So I was trying to figure out how I'll be able to still incorporate that while transitioning my whole business online to people that don't even know anything about my training in German. So for me, that was the hardest part, doing it that way and just making everything virtual and starting completely new in a different place where nobody knew who I was.
For sure. Yeah, and then obviously having to like restart and develop a whole new clientele is definitely not an easy task, and we've all had to do that quite a few times. So
I think it's so cool that like you started here, you're known a little bit in the States, and now you're out in Germany making your name. Like I definitely foresee like in the future, Be Better Bodied is gonna be everywhere, and like I'm here for it. I'm excited for it.
That's the goal for sure. I mean, it's cool when you think about it that way, but like some days for me, I'm like, oh my gosh, like I was doing so well already. Like everything was already taken off. Then I left, I had to start all over again. And it's just finding the right resources and the right people to support too. Like some days are harder than others.
Yeah.
It's really just me out here. I don't have people like building it up like how I was doing it in Windsor and how I had a lot of people supporting me. So it's a lot different compared to what I'm used to.
Yeah, for sure. And then are you guys still locked down in Germany?
Yeah, completely locked down. No gyms are open, stores aren't open. Literally, the only thing open here is the grocery store and the gas station
Yeah.
How long has it been like that? It's been a couple months now.
since November.
Is this the second lockdown for Germany?
Yeah,
Yeah, second.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
We've only been locked down, what, a month and a half or so, I think.
Yeah.
But even for you guys have curbside pickups and stuff. We don't have any of that. Everything's completely closed, and we have an 8 p.m. curfew.
Yeah.
Our COVID situation over here is confusing. I mean, we have a curfew. I mean, we shouldn't be on the road past 8, but you can pick up anything and you can go shopping at Dollar Tree normal. So
Yeah. So,
Seriously.
only
over here.
small businesses, like only small businesses really got shut down here. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
You go shopping with 300 people, but Kayla, don't dare train 8 people in a day.
Oh my goodness. But yeah, it's so true. But did you guys find that you always knew that you'd be into fitness? Obviously, I know B obviously was starting with sports. Sarah, you had your own like fitness journey and transition. So what was that like moment where you're like, yeah, I'm doing that. I'm jumping.
My moment was once I graduated and I'm like, I keep on doing little bits and pieces of something. Let me just do one thing and focus all in fully on that. So that was my moment when I started working at Good Life. I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to give it at least 1 year, see how I like it, see if training is something. Because a lot of people were telling me to do it before, but I'm like, nah, I don't want to.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, I'll give it 1 year. I'll lock in for 1 year. I won't really travel. I'll literally just focus on learning, soaking up as much as I can get out of the experience. And let me just do it for at least 1 year.
Perfect.
So for me, Good Life really set that tone for me. I learned a lot and it was a great experience for me to progress into what I'm doing now.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Sarah, you want to go ahead?
I definitely was really interested, like obviously when Cora suggested it, going through like the schooling for it. The moment that made it be like, yeah, this is what I'm supposed to be doing was I had a client come in. She was a little bit of a hot mess, you know, going through life, and life just got her down the wrong way. And she ended up getting some sessions. And throughout the sessions, like she kind of just needed someone to talk to because there was no one that understood what she was going through specifically. It was very taboo for her culture and her religion for what she was specifically dealing with. And at the end of her 6 months of training, and she looked at me and she looked in the mirror and she was like, I never thought that 1, I would still be here, and 2, that I would feel this good and I would look this good. And just watching her look at herself in the mirror and have that realization, like, I just did that, you know? And like knowing her personal story and some of the struggles that she overcome within those 6 months, It was almost like this skin was shredded off of her in the mirror, and like she stepped into who she was supposed to be. And it was so empowering to watch somebody else do that and know like you had a part in that. Like you know, you did that. You really made her believe in herself, and now she believes in herself, and now she's a way more confident, secure person. She didn't change who she was. She's still who she is. She's still the same age. She's still in the same situation, but she no longer feels like she has to hide who she is or what she likes, and just having that moment of watching somebody else just glow. I was like, okay, like this is what I'm here for. This is what I'm supposed to be doing. Letting people know who you may think you're an underdog, but you are not. You are just a shining star that just got a little dirt on you. You know what I mean? Dust yourself off and just shine. Mm-hmm. And the more women that I got to train that had like difficult situations or difficult stories really resonated with me. We're like, this is it. Like, this is where it is for me.
Yeah. It was almost more so like the clients that pulled you in rather than like the industry.
Yeah. The clients, the gratitude and the satisfaction of helping somebody else on a deeper level definitely was like, okay, this is what I'm here for.
For sure.
Yeah, that definitely sealed the deal for sure.
100%. Yeah. And you know what's so funny too? It's because like, I mean, I always did sports when I was younger. I was in rugby and rowing and football and gymnastics and everything basically. Yeah. And so, you know, after school, like I went to school for business and I was like, well, what do I do now? Like, right. So, I mean, I always liked health and fitness, and like I had health issues when I was younger. So like I was always on like a strict diet. So it was always something that I had in my life. But obviously I'm not really paying attention. I mean, I'm like, you know, a 12-year-old kid eating gluten-free and dairy-free. Like I'm like suffering over there. But so it was just interesting because then obviously after school and just finding that interest, and I actually went to one of my friends, my parents' friends' gyms, and he just opened it up and he was 30 years old and he just opened up this beautiful facility. And I was like, oh my God, I love this. Like I could so do this. And so like literally that moment, I was like, I'm gonna open up a gym before I'm 30. That was my joke, my like goal ever since then. And then obviously like Good Life, and then jumping to Windsor, and then obviously finding the right spot. And it was just kind of just kept on rolling with it, and dealing with the punches at the same time. And, you know, those doubters, of course, too. I also never forget this too. I had my one boss when I told him at my retail store that I was working at. I was like, you know what? I think I want to go back to school and I want to like become a trainer and, you know, up my schooling. And he was like, well, I like fishing. Yeah, I'm going to make a career out of it. It's like,
Wow.
excuse me. So literally that has been in the back of my head. And the funny thing is, right after I did my schooling and I like already was working with Good Life, I started doing training at people's houses. And the house that I was at, I finished her session. I was leaving the house. He was her neighbor. And he sees me walking out of her house with weights, obviously like my bands, all her stuff. I just waved. I'm like,
Yeah, you did. You waved. You waved with a big old smile on your face. Like, yeah, you see me.
you have fun going to work at 9 o'clock in the morning, working at the mall, and I will have fun doing what I love with people that I love. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
Right. So
I would have did a whole shimmy like, yeah.
you know, I mean, I was definitely feeling it. You know, and I don't want to say this, but at the same time, every single time that like somebody's told me, no, don't do that, you guys are gonna laugh, but it's always been a guy. It's always been a man.
Oh yeah.
You can't do it. You can't do it. I'm like, so as women in the industry, I definitely find it's harder for us to get in. But once we're in and once people trust us and we obviously have that amazing community and support system around us, unstoppable.
Unstoppable.
100%. 100%. And I love that we've kind of like really helped create that for each other and bounce ideas off each other and, you know, help each other out, right? Because that's what we're here for.
It's crazy that we all met at the same place and we've all gone on our own adventures and we still come back to see each other or still come back to support each other or whatnot. You know what I mean? When you opened your shop, I was like, no, like we're going. My husband's like, I'm like, I don't care. We need a pit stop. Yeah. It was so great to see something that you'd been working on for so long just come to life, and the love in the room and everything. It was just, I was so proud of you. Like, yeah, girl, you just did that.
And then being able to come and see your spot and like, oh my God, it's like,
I feel like Windsor needs more of that. People need to support each other a lot more instead of trying to like
110%. Like it's Calm Me Dumb or Call Me Ridiculous. There's a song by one of these artists and she literally, it's a diss track and it says like, if all women stopped dissing on each other in the same city on the same coast, we would be unstoppable. But instead of, you know, telling me good job or, you know, like, oh, just fix this and you can go so much further, you rather stand in the shadow and just talk about it. Like, no, like help a girl out. The girl will help you out. Like, we're a community. Like, we should all be coming together and giving each other a high five, because God knows that there's a million people out there that don't want to high five us and don't want to see us succeed. You know what I mean? Like, I'm proud of all of us that came where we started and where we are today. And I can't wait to see where we're going to be in a year, 2 years, 3 years. Like, this is only the beginning for us. I mean,
100%.
One of the questions that people always ask me is, how do I maintain being fit and running a business? Yeah. So let's get some tips on how you guys manage to do all that, especially you, Sarah, you got 2 kids. So how do you make it all work?
I work out with my clients. So like, I won't do like full reps or full sets with them. But like if they're down on the floor doing a round of push-ups, like I'll get down and do like one of their sets with them. Yeah. Or throughout the day, like showing my clients how to do something. I feel like I get a pretty good workout. And then with my kids, when they drive me crazy, I pack them up and take them to the gym. And I'm like, all right, let's go. You know?
Yeah. And that's the thing though, too. I think a lot of people, especially anybody that, you know, has anything to say about like young kids training or working out, it's not like you're giving your kids the same amount of weight, same amount of reps, whatever. It's literally
Right.
just trying to create those healthy habits and just show them too that like you got to take care of yourself, right? Both physically and mentally. So leading by example, and I want to get strong. I want to be able to take care of myself. I want to be able to take care of you guys. So I have to do this. Right. And it's good for them to like see you struggle a little bit and sweat and
And work
It just
through it.
benefits them for their sports later, like when they're allowed to go back to gymnastics and basketball, then like it's not like they missed out on any skill level. Like they'll still be at the same, if not better. So it'll just be better for when they come out of lockdown.
100%.
Yeah.
And it's very like working out and sports is basically, I don't want to say the same thing, but very similar, right? It especially for kids, it creates that strong mind muscle connection, right? It gets them conscious of their body, of their muscles, of their of everything. And so it's only going to make them stronger and better with the sports or whatever they're doing later on. Like I tell my fiance all the time, like I've already picked all the sports I'm going to put our kids in because this one's good for mind body connection. This one's good for strength building. Like, I've already covered everything.
Right.
It's time to sign them up and they're like, Mom, but I don't want to do this.
No, it's not an option. Not an option.
There though.
No,
That's like what you learn in sport and activity. Those are the things that carry on into your everyday life. It's not just sport. It develops you as a person.
100%. Character building, team building. It's so good. And especially like as a kid, you're put out, so like kind of shoved out there and feeling uncomfortable, but it's good, right? You build that team and the team that you get from sports and just the environment I find is so important. But
It's empowering.
Between business running and keeping your healthy, fit lifestyle, how do you manage it all?
Schedule. I'm very much, honestly, a scheduled person, super old school. Everybody knows, like, I have a paper book. Pretty sure, I think all of us do, actually.
Yeah.
So I honestly, even during
it.
Right? Honestly, even during quarantine, I've been writing down, like, I got myself a new schedule because I was like, I want to be excited when I open this, even though it might be a little empty compared to what it normally is. So I honestly like got myself a new schedule and I will write in like laundry, meal prepping, like,
keep it looking good.
Like it gives me something to do, and B, at least if I'm doing nothing, again, it gives me something to do. But if I'm overwhelmed, then at least I know, okay, this hour I get to relax and meal prep, or this hour I get to. So having that time, so I can kind of almost pre-frame myself, okay, after this client, I'm going to go and do this or whatever it is, or I'm just going to relax for 10 minutes. It just makes my day run so much smoother that by the time I get home, it's not like I'm, oh my God, I have to do laundry and I have to do this. No, I can just take a shower, relax, and hang out on the couch, right? So, and then at least I'm not creating that extra stress on myself later on. So, schedule.
I feel like a lot of people lack that scheduling thing. It's so important. It makes things go so much smoother, and it kind of gives you that set plan for the day. It's like you don't have to think about it in the moment. You already know what you're going to be doing.
For sure. And I find I'm definitely
I've been what, Sarah?
Like, it allows you to do more. Like if you schedule out your stuff, you're more conscious of your time. Yeah. So like we're gonna do a whole week of no scheduling, just like by the fly. Even if we didn't have clients, like we just, I'll do the laundry whenever, I'll do this whenever, I'll do whatever. Yeah. You realize at the end of the day, you're like, damn, I didn't get as much done as if you scheduled. You're like, oh, okay, I woke up at this time. I went boom, 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 boom. Man, I got so much accomplished today. Yeah. So like, I think scheduling is very important.
And honestly, I find that's the difference between a schedule and like a to-do list. A to-do list is like, here's a bunch of things that I'm going to do, but realistically, I'm going to do it like an hour before I go to bed and stress myself out, like realistically. Whereas like, at least with my schedule, I know, okay, you know what? I'm going to watch this episode of Game of Thrones, and then at noon, I'm going to get up and do my laundry or whatever, right? So I use that with everything. And at least with, then if there's leftover house stuff that I didn't get to that week, or leftover business or gym stuff or whatever, then at least I know that I've done everything I could throughout my week. And so I have time on the weekends that I can squeeze those things in that I didn't accomplish. So then at the end of the week, it's not like it's a pile up. It's just those last couple, 3-4 things that I got to do. Right. So,
which makes sense.
Rely on that schedule. So I could God, if I lose it, I don't even know. But
Even if we lose it, we still got it. Even
yeah,
if we lose
100%.
it. we still got it.
I think it's maybe ingrained
It
in
becomes
us.
a habit. Such a great habit to have though.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
and that's what I've really tried to, I'm sure we all try to push on our clients too. And even during this quarantine process, you know, people are sleeping until noon and then going to bed at like 4 o'clock in the morning. And what is that doing for you?
Guilty.
It's only going to make after this process so much harder for you to get back to like your regular life. So why not use this time as, you know what? I'm going to get up at 8 o'clock every day, even though I don't have anything to do. Okay. But I'm going to go for a walk. I'm going to have a coffee. I'm going to take my time and maybe do a yoga class or something that you would never do before that now you have the time to do just because you took initiative and scheduled yourself out. You know, I'm going to be awake from this time to this time. Right?
The biggest thing, we have nothing but free time on our hands.
Yeah.
So like before, we were so busy with life and home and working and, you know, like when the world was normal, that we were like, oh, I don't have time to do that.
Yeah.
We have nothing but time to do all those things that we didn't have time for. So just do them.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And it's easy. It's so easy to say like do them to it. I mean, so many people don't have that. I was gonna say so many people are at home by themselves right now, or you know, a single parent with kids and overwhelmed or just struggling mentally or physically right now, right? So it's the support system is definitely that second step to help people schedule out their lives and just keep things organized, right?
And then accountability too, because for us, we're in business. Our minds already work in a different way than everyday people. They're used to that set structure and scheduling and someone telling them what to do. It's completely different for us.
Yeah,
So-
we have to wake up and if we don't get up and do it, nothing else gets done within business, clients, whatever. Like even my house, if I don't do it, my kids ain't doing it. If I don't get up and go clean my business or promote my business, nobody else is going to do it for me. Like
100%.
we really have to set the bar high and we really have to follow and lead by example. You know what I mean? So
Exactly.
on top of everyday people, I feel like business owners like wake up like, okay, boom, I got to do this, this, and this today. Let's get it.
100%. Yeah. So we got to be both leaders. I mean, try to be leaders in the industry, leaders in our own house lives, and leaders in our community as well. Right. So
yeah,
we wear many hats.
I get this question all the time. What was the biggest shocker opening your brand or opening your facility? Like, what is something like we all did our research, we all did our homework before. Like we all didn't just jump into business. We all did our due diligence. We did our research. We planned out the facilities, the brand, the bands, whatever.
Yep.
What was your biggest, like, even with all your research, damn, like, I didn't know about that, or, oh, I didn't think that, like, what is some of those, like, eye openers? Not necessarily roadblocks, but just like, oh, okay, I didn't know this was a part of it.
Yeah. I mean, I think we all knew that, like, obviously owning a gym, there's definitely liability, but it's just more so like the insurance aspect of it.
Yeah.
It's definitely a big one, right?
Yeah.
Britannia?
I think I would say that too. It's more so those costs that you kind of just thought were just, okay, yeah, it'll be fine. But then they all add up. It's like, dang, I know it's going to be that much to be able to do that. And
Yeah.
and the main thing for being international too, it's like, dang, I didn't know it was going to cost that much. And it just starts adding up and adding up. I'm like, man, this is expensive. And you got to pay the taxes on it.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
My biggest thing I knew about deposits, like when you get a building, like when you get your facility, you have to put down deposits on like your utilities.
Before and after, or first and last.
Yeah.
Obviously, I knew that the deposits were there. I did not know that they calculate the deposit based on the previous bills. So like the year before you're in your spot, they calculate what they did, and then that's your deposit. I moved into a tanning salon.
damn.
Yeah.
I did not know. When I seen that, I was
That
just,
would have been a shocker.
what do you mean? A shocker. The man on the phone that told me my deposit was like, are you sitting down? And I was like, why? And he's like, because you're renting an old tanning salon. And I was like, okay. He's like, so we based it based on their bills. And I was like, oh my God, okay.
My spot was basically like the headquarters. They were rebuilding the paramedic spot at the time. So my spot was like where the paramedics would like sleep sometimes. So there was nobody in there before. And then before that, I think it was like an office. So I think it was okay. But either way, it had to be done.
Yeah, like when you guys were like insurance, I was like, insurance was a breeze for me, guys. Like,
Yeah. Right?
yeah.
So funny.
But
Well,
when you
awesome.
guys spot later, we'll be really happy to know the bills are low.
Yeah, right. No, so good. But yeah, I think we should maybe cut it off here for today.
I think
But
we're good for
honestly, like that was really good, and obviously I'm so happy that we could chat and you know, address some of the commonly asked questions and talk about our stories and journeys and stuff. And I think this is definitely something we'll continue later on. I will say goodbye for now, and I will see you ladies on our next Flex Friday.
Happy Flex Friday. Enjoy your weekend, and I'll see you next week.
Bye, guys.